Hey guys, today is the 16th. It is August 16th, 2020, and welcome to my quick update. As you see, we don't have any videos because we don't have any video here because we haven't done much work physically. It's all been on CAD, so I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And then I'm going to give you guys an update on all the current projects that are happening. Okay, so number one, been working a lot on my day job, so I haven't had as much time to work physically on my stuff as well as get together with my machinist to machine some stuff, right? So that has been kind of slow. I need to refocus on that and get some parts made so that we can move forward with our physical projects, the stuff that's in the shop, right? So I got a new phone, so that's going to be used to take better pictures to have on the website and maybe use for some occasional video. And I have a 360 camera now also that we may use, as well as I have another camera with an optical zoom now instead of using the phone's digital zoom. So there's going to be a couple different things with that. So let's go ahead and talk about the status of all the projects. So let's go ahead and go through the projects. So we have the multi-shooter. Multi-shooter is the same point it was before. We're waiting for COVID kind of to finish. So just in case we need to get some stuff from China, we'll actually get it. I've ordered some stuff from China recently and it never comes, right? Well, it's not half it does, half it doesn't. So multi-shooter, waiting for this to kind of subside, the COVID thing. Obviously, we're still in COVID here in California. I believe the cases are on the downturn. So hopefully not long now until that's gone. But we have COVID still going on, and so when that kind of subsides, then me and Kevin, and I explained earlier that the reason why me and Kevin aren't meeting up is that his mom's a cancer survivor, so she's very high risk to get infected and not survive, basically. So we're not meeting up. He's meeting up with very few people in general, right? He's pretty dedicated to the quarantine. And me, I go to on site at work, so I'm exposed to a lot of people, and I would hate for him to catch it and then give it to his mom, right? Even his dad's working, and his dad had a couple close calls with being exposed to somebody, didn't end up catching it, as far as we know. So multi-shooter, waiting for basically physical development. We have the models, we have everything designed. We're ready to start physical and software development for it. Okay, so that is the state of the multi-shooter. Very, very, very close to finishing that up, making sure everything works, taking all the bugs out of the code, improving the code, and then releasing it as an open source project. Then we have the shredder. The shredder is kind of in the same state as it was before. I made a mistake and got the wrong gearing, so I need to have my machinist water jet the right sizes. Basically, we redesigned the right sizes. As far I remember, we redesigned the sizes, so that's ready to be sent to him to be water jetted and for me to pay for it. Blah blah blah, whatever. And then that should be kind of the final setup for the mechanical. And then we have electrical on that guy, and then that guy's done. Then to manufacture that, we've been working on the water jet, right? And so the water jet, I've been working with my machinist. I need to clarify some stuff with him, but it's been like a month that I've been trying to get our schedules to meet up to where I can go there and actually talk to him. Because usually I'm at work from I have to drive 30 minutes to work, and I'm there at 8 o'clock, right? Or 8 o'clock, 8:30 to 9, depending, to 10 sometimes, but usually I have meetings in the morning. So usually after I first get up, I'm on working, and then to sometimes between 6 and 7, I'm there, and then driving home. And he's usually gone by 4:30. So very, very difficult to get our times met up. And I've been trying to meet up with him on weekends, but he's doing a lot of work at his ranch, so he's going down there during the weekends. So hopefully I find some time to meet up with him during a weekend and get this going, and maybe have him work on some other projects such as the shredder, where we don't have as much clarification that needs to be done. Okay, and then I have some printing that I need to do on the shredder as well. We need to do some guards, and then we have some prototypes for electrical, so we're going to test that, and then try to work on some PCB designs to have that all in one solution. So you just bolt it on, and it's ready to perform what it needs. And with that is the dual capacitive touch interlocks, so that the motor won't start unless you have both fingers on the interlocks. And then we have current sensor, so if it overloads, it'll back up. It'll reverse rotation for 5-10 seconds, and then start rotating forward again. So hopefully it'll move the plastic around a little bit. And also, as I showed you guys in the video, the last update with the shredder, is that it was running out of torque with those pieces, and that's why, like I said, I made a boo-boo and put the gear on the wrong side. Yeah, so that's it for the shredder. So that was multi-extruder in the shredder. The water jet I was talking about, we need a couple of ports that adapt from the water jet to the hoses that go to the manifold. So again, we have a dual output on the water jet, and we have to connect it to a single output that can go up and go to our high pressure hosing. Right, so we need to go from 2 ports to 1 port. I have all the parts for that. I just needed a couple pieces machined, some bolts machined basically into adapters, and then I needed to have something adapt something up to the cutting head. So I need something to adapt the sides into the ports, M14 ports or whatever are on the pump, and then the lines to come out and go into the manifold. And I already have those adapters. I already have the tubing, and then also another thing, I need to put 2 90 degrees, one in each side of the tubing, so that they come in and go to the manifold, and then go up and out, and then into the flex line. And then the flex line, I need an adapter at the top to go into the cutting head. So altogether, I just need 3 machined parts left in order to test the cutting. And for the hopper, I'm just going to have a 3D print hopper with a piece of plexiglass, with a piece of thin plastic in there, to see how much granules you have left, how much sand you have left. And then for that, I'm going to have to order some samples of 220, 240 grit, right? I think it's 220, 240, or 240, 180, something like that. So we can test cutting it. And so the concept with that is that we're going to set it up as like a bandsaw, so that you feed in. So basically you have, I'll have like a tray and a big bucket full of water underneath it. And then I have the material on top of a piece of plastic or a piece of metal or whatever, with a hole in it where the water jet is suspended above it, shooting down. And then I could run a piece of metal through it and see how fast I could actually have something cut through. And then I'll also try to measure the CFM and look into what size of a new compressor that I need to buy in order to satisfy all this. And then modify the garage so that I can house that compressor where I would like it to be, is in the back corner of the garage. Okay, so that's that. And then the water jet, I'm not getting any emails back from where I wanted to make a frame, basically just modify a 3D printer frame. So we might need to just manufacture that ourselves. I might have Parnell help me with that. So that's not that big of a deal. Okay, so that's the water jet, and then we would have to set up the CNC after that. But the first thing that we want to do is get it cutting to see if, hey, is this thing viable, right? Am I going to have to boost up the amount of pressure I can push out, blah, blah, blah. Am I going to have to get a new pump, all that kind of stuff. Is this thing going to be good for manufacturing at least 1 shredder per day, right? Okay, so that is the water jet. So then we have the last 2 projects, which are the EcoBase 3D printer and the Fill-A-Factory. So the Phillip factory, we kind of put a hold on right now because we were starting to design on it, me and Kevin, but I kind of wasn't feeling it. So we moved to the EcoBase. Reason being is that we have a lot of interesting stuff going on with the EcoBase. And I want to show you guys, but it's got some things in there that I'm still kind of deciding when to show and when to kind of talk about. So basically, I have, as you know, I have a mechanical background and I work in thermal, and my capstone was in thermal. I had a thermal emphasis on my mechanical engineering degree, and so me and Kevin worked on designing our own hot end using a lot of special materials and things like that. So, and then halfway through, like 3/4 of the way through, originally it was just going to be a feature on the EcoBase 3D printer. Like, okay, this is just going to be a special thing that only the EcoBase 3D printer has. And again, the EcoBase is just a working name. I haven't decided the name yet. So, yeah, so that was just a feature that was going to be on that particular printer. But then 3/4 of the way through, I'm like, this hot end is really, really good. So we ended up adding a E3D V6 adapter as well as a MK8 adapter, so it can be used on most 3D printers. So that may be the first project that me and Kevin launched together for, I guess, this new phase of the Green Engineers, which is the phase of post school, right? And where, you know, I have more funding and stuff like that from personal funding into the business, and maybe, well, no, not really more time. I think I have less time, but I get a little bit more on the weekends. But yeah, so the first product launched on older, wiser, more mature owner of the business, as well as, again, more finances and more educational background and more experience in engineering and on the job at an engineering firm, right? Okay, so anyways, really, really good hot end design. I can't wait for you guys to see it. We're going to be manufacturing some test pieces to run on my Tronxy X5 SA, which, speaking of which, I'm going to have to talk about an update there at the end. I also updated that guy. That's probably the most physical work I've done for the Green Engineers recently, and we'll talk about that. So, really, really great hot end. Can work on Mark 8 so far, Mark 8 and E3D V6 printers, and it's also shorter. And I'm not going to talk about all the features that it has, but it has a lot of features that I've never seen a hot end have, and it also eliminates a lot of things that makes using a hot end way easier. Also increases the temperature capacity, right? How hot you can run, and thus increasing the amount of filaments you can use. And right now we won't talk about how that's possible and how that's running and the exact specifics on that till we get a little bit closer and I can show you guys a model or something that is running, and maybe a little bit closer to getting the supply chain figured out for that and getting that out there to some YouTubers to check out and some internal testing done and things like that. Right, some kind of experts in 3D printing field, as well as myself, Kevin, and some other friends that I know 3D printing, and also some remote experts, right? And then that will probably also go through a Kickstarter, this and that, all that kind of stuff. So then the another thing, on a vacation, I came up with another 2 concepts. So I came up with one concept at the same time as I did with hot end, which is a way of basically it's pretty much a dehumidifier for filament integrated into the printer. So when you load your filament, one of the steps is that it'll actually dry your filament before you start printing, or basically while you're printing, it'll be drying your filament so that you have a peak performance from your printer. The reason being is that this printer is designed for a lot of the engineering materials such as nylons and a lot of materials that will absorb moisture and cause a lot of popping and expansion and weird printing texture, right? So I think that would be something great to have something integrated into the printer that you'll have a separate control system. Right now, I don't know if I'm going to integrate that into Marlin or have a separate system. Most likely I'll just have it at the beginning. I'll have a separate system that you use to control that. And so I'm working on that. That's going to be pretty interesting. Don't have any models for that yet. Still working on that. And then the final thing is I came up with a new way of doing an extruder, which is kind of cool. It is basically, this is also going to be a feature that I've never seen done before. I've seen things that are similar, and I kind of riffed off those, and I made them, I think, vastly greater. But it will basically combine, and again, I'm not going to talk too much about it until the EcoBase gets closer to launch, and I can talk more about it. But right now I'm going to kind of keep it secretive until I decide to show you guys. But it's going to basically combine Bowden and direct drive, kind of the best of both worlds, but better than a lot of the other implementations. There's implementations of that exist, but this one is improving on that concept. And so I have that. So those are the three: the hot end, the drying, and so far the extruder. And we are how the extruder works, right? And so that is the three main features of the printer so far. One of them, obviously, you could put on other printers, which is the hot end. But those are the three right now. And I'm going to be adding some more aspects to that. With respect to the design of that, we are about 3/4 of the way done with the design. We still haven't added the dryer yet, so that's coming up. So maybe 1/3, maybe 2/3, maybe 66% done with the design. And then obviously I have some bamboo panels already cut. And again, it's going to be a Bambu 3D printer, so it's going to have bamboo enclosure around it, or enclosure. So very, very interesting project. It's kind of the most excited I've been with the project so far because of all these new concepts, right? A lot of the other concepts were things that I came up with a long time ago, so obviously the excitement has worn off. These are kind of some new inventions that I haven't seen out there. All right. The final one is that I've been upgrading my Tronxy X5SA, so it is running with silent steppers now, which I think are amazing. I'm going to be incorporating those in the EcoBase 3D printer, the silent step sticks from Trimic, and those are amazing. And then also I'm running a geared extruder, which is also, like I said, I have a different style of extruder in the EcoBase, so that won't necessarily be included, but super interesting. And also I got pretty much every single printing bed available that would fit on that printer. And so I'm going to be messing a lot with different print beds and how they print and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be doing a lot of experimentation on that guy while printing for different contract work and other things. While I'm messing with that, I'll be messing with the different beds and those types of technologies and figure out kind of what's best for the EcoBase. All right, so that's kind of the end of my update here. A little bit longer because I wasn't using the camera. I was using a screen capture here of just the Green Engineers logo. So hopefully I could show you guys some more coming up, but with the shredder hasn't been much movement. The main movement again was with the 3D printer, the EcoBase, and then also my Tronxy X5SA. So we're going to be working on that stuff quite a bit, and I'm trying to have the printer and the Filafactory done by the end of this year. I wanted to have all my machines designed by the end of this year, and then next year have them try to get a lot of them released, or at least polished up to be prepared for release. So at the end of this year, my goal for this year is to have all of them roughed out, and then next year polish them up, maybe release the extruder next year, and then subsequently have them all released by the end of the year following that. So basically 2021, polish everything up, have all my projects released by 2022. Right, and out there in the wild and manufacturing them and selling them also. And then also, me and Kevin talked about a couple concepts on how we can get started, where we can machine our own parts to keep the costs low to get them out quicker. So we're working on that as well. All right, that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. So hopefully I'll see you guys again in my next update. Any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments, and I'll get back to you when I see them. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you guys next update. Thanks for keeping track of the work at the Green Engineers, and hopefully I'll have some more concrete stuff to show you guys by the next update. Thanks. Talk to you guys later. Bye.